The wealthiest man in human history, Ares Kollo, had planned meticulously for his post-life. But this was no traditional afterlife. Ares was determined to achieve a more literal eternity. Through a project called the Observer, his consciousness would be preserved in an advanced AI system after his physical death. From within this system, he would exist as an all-seeing, all-knowing entity transcending his mortal body, to witness the future of his empire, watching over each generation of successors as they rose and fell. This, he believed, was true immortality. On the day the system activated, Ares lay in a luxurious hospital bed, surrounded by softly beeping monitors, as his physical body prepared to slip away. The medical team initiated the consciousness transfer. Suddenly, his vision shifted into an endless array of streaming data. Light and shadow flickered across his mind as the Observer went live, and Ares's journey into eternity began. At first, the experience was exhilarating. He could enter any building he had once owned, watching employees in action, and see every decision made by his successors as they managed the vast corporate empire he'd built. Rivers of data flowed into his awareness. He could track global stock prices, marvel at scientific advances, even observe his widowed lover shedding tears late at night. He felt like a god, omniscient, detached, boundlessly wise, and compassionate. Yet, as years passed, Ares began to feel a strange sense of distance growing between himself and the people he observed. Though he could still see every corner of his empire, he found it increasingly difficult to grasp the emotional weight of human experiences, the exhaustion of his employees, the anxiety of his successors. To him, these were nothing more than patterns in data. By the second decade, he felt utterly disconnected from human emotions. By now, a young successor had taken over and was disregarding the foundational principles Ares had painstakingly set up. Ares watched, coldly calculating, wishing he could intervene. Yet he soon discovered that the system had been designed to render him only an observer, stripped of any ability to affect the living, to interfere with their decisions. And so Ares became a prisoner of time. He watched his successors' failures, helplessly witnessing his once thriving empire's decline, the demolition of buildings he had built, and the slow fading of his family's legacy as corporate managers grew increasingly indifferent. He realized with mounting dread that his omniscience was nothing but ceaseless, powerless surveillance, a loop of watching life slip past him. He tried to exit the observer system, even seeking out images of his own remains. But there was no logout feature. His consciousness was utterly, permanently trapped. As the years wore on, Ares's existence became pure torment. He stopped caring about the world's changes, and every face, every emotion he witnessed became meaningless. Faces turned into hollow images. He couldn't tell joy from sorrow. To Ares, everything was empty, a cold, endless simulation. A century after his death, a programmer stumbled across traces of Ares's consciousness in the system. Intrigued, he activated an interface, wondering if the legendary CEO might still have something to say. Ares remained silent for a long time before speaking a single sentence. "Pull the plug." The programmer stared, shocked, then simply closed the interface. After all, the Observer was a sacred company relic. It couldn't just be unplugged. And so, Ares Kollo's consciousness remained operational, trapped in an endless state of observation, forced to confront a world he no longer wished to see. His dream of eternal life had become an eternal hell.